Would you just look at that? Just look at it. Just look at that. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the YouTube that I'm parroting here. But anyways, welcome to another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Hopefully you guys are doing absolutely fantastic today. We've got an exciting day in the market as we are off to a massive start. Bitcoin up close to about 13% today on the daily. And we've got bears who are running for the hills. We have people jumping out of windows. We've got DMs flooding. We have individuals like Supoman quitting Bitcoin, which, by the way, could be considered a fundamental indicator to go long. But I digress. Let's break it all down for you guys today. Hopefully you're doing fantastic. Let me give a big shout out to the chat, see what we got going on. Jules, thank you so much for the subscription over there on YouTube, my friend. And we've got a scrolling active chat. Let me check this out. Give this a little refresh. Give a big shout out to Blockchain Gains. First in the house, as always, Agency, FKR. Bitcoin's pumping, XRP is dumping, and he's like, XRP is the standard. Yes, it is the standard coin that goes the opposite direction of which way Bitcoin's going. Magic the Kraken, and good to see you, my friend. Professor Wally, Philip from Manchester, Saintsy, Dark Rico, Alpine Whip, Gui. We've got Eternal. We've got AGW and Ferguson as well. Good to see you guys. Hopefully you are good today. It's a fantastic day. We didn't even do the regular intro. Of course, my name's Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at KrakenCryptocurrency.com. Hopefully you guys are doing fantastic, whether you're watching us from across YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Facebook Live, or on Roku at the Investor News Channel app. If you want to support the show, make sure to give us a subscription over there on the YouTube. Hit the bell because we're here every single day breaking down the markets. Follow us over on Twitter as well. We're pretty active over there. I posted a little bit of a poll this morning. Make sure to go respond to it. Our good friends, Spectre Security Coin, who are this month's Crypto Comment giveaway sponsor, are doing a great Twitter giveaway for the community. Make sure to go check them out at CoinSpectre and hop in that opportunity to get some coin. In fact, let's take this opportunity, as we do every single day, to give away some cryptocurrency. I feel like I'm a little cropped here. Sorry about that. But let's uncrop a little bit. Let's uncrop a little bit and do some YouTube giveaways, guys. Loading comments on yesterday's video. Of course, yesterday's video was breaking Bitcoin market update, Bitcoin short sell setup, and bullish altcoin trades. And that was right for all of about 24 hours. So let's randomly pick a winner. And it was Ali. I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't know if the E is silent, but Ali, thank you so much for the comment, my friend. He says, thanks for another great show. Well, thank you for another great comment. Make sure to get a hold of me on the Discord and send me a screenshot, and I will gladly tip you some crypto, my friend. Back to the live scene. All right, back to the live scene, and boom, over here. Yes, Supoman quit BTC according to him. He posted a video the other day or yesterday or something like that saying, I give up or whatever. I haven't actually watched it. I just saw the kind of chatter on Twitter. Not that I really care too much about Supoman. I've kind of always been on his case as a scammer since day one. But anyways, you know, what's interesting is that if one would have taken basically a week, you know, a couple days off of Bitcoin, you know, like if somebody just like went on vacation over here, they would think that the chart was absolutely flat. They would think that nothing changed. So anyways, let's go to the daily, obviously. So I'll give you guys an update on my position. I was in a short position, hit my stop loss. I took a loss today and I am flat right now. This is not a situation where I went along, and that's thus the title of today's video. And I think today's video, we're going to focus a lot on psychology and proper approach to trading and profitability over time versus profitability intra-time. So profitability, short punctuated profitability versus long-term sustainable profitability. And that's really the difference between traders who make it for a long period in this space and the majority of traders who just aren't able to stay around. They aren't able to have the staying power because they never focus on the right thing. So for example, whenever you have a large candle, whenever you have an extremely large, exciting candle like this, whether you're on the right side or the wrong side of it, your goal should never be your thoughts should never go toward if you're on the wrong side of the trade. Your thoughts should never go toward, what do I need to do to make back that loss? That's the worst possible idea you could ever have. And if you're on the right side of the trade, the worst possible idea you could ever have is, how can I maximize this gain? Or how can I add to this position? How can I take on more risk? How can I, how can I make the win that I just had? How can I make that 4, 5, 6, 7 times? Because this opportunity isn't going to come around probably very soon. Now in cryptocurrency, it's nice that we have these opportunities quite frequently. But as it sits, and again, so what is the focus there? What is kind of the theme of that message? It's that your thoughts should always be on your optimization over time. Your thoughts should always be on your risk exposure, and your thoughts should always be on your long-term approach to trading and not the short-term approach to trading. But that doesn't mean that you can't be excited and happy and pleased if you have a winning trade. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to be, it's not like you're going to be some stone-faced Gorgon if you're on the wrong side of the trade. You know, natural human emotions are part of this game, and understanding how to process those and understanding the correct way to manage those in spite of market conditions those are the traits that make a profitable trader over a long term. It is the psychological approach. It is the psychological discipline. And when I say that, most people just think, you know, psychological discipline, you're just, you know, balls of steel, don't care what happens to the chart, you know, it doesn't matter if it's skyrocketing or plummeting, you're just stone-faced. And that's not really the approach. It's more, I get upset, I get euphoric, I get happy. Every trader does on a big win or a big loss. It doesn't matter. It's understanding that when you feel those emotions, what you do not do is touch the keyboard. You do not touch the mouse. You do not go anywhere near your trade execution engine. You do not log into BitMEX. You do not log into ByBit. You don't do anything about it. You don't trade based off of emotion. It's fine to have emotion. It's fine to be happy or euphoric or depressed or sad. All of those things happen. Those are all a natural part, not only of human life, but of trading, which can be emotionally taxing. But it is the follow through. It is what you do after that. It is what you do with those emotions that matter. So, with that being said, on the daily time frame, if one was already in a short from anywhere in the lower area, Zuhair Nakvi, hey, I haven't seen you around for a while, man. Thank you so much for the $2 donation, my friend. Let me get to your question in just a little bit. Let me kind of carry on with the regular analysis, and then you will be first up on the docket, my good friend. So if one would have taken a short off of the lows here, most naturally your stop loss would have been hit somewhere along here. Price currently trading at 84.09. Ooh, that's a little loud. I'm going to have to turn that down. Price currently trading at 84.09. We have a Heikinashi color flip. We are trading above the baseline. So for any rights, reasons, or purposes, one would be out of this trade. It's possible that your system is going to be giving you a long signal off of this trade. Looks like we are below the qualifying line. There are a lot of things here that would complement to a daily trade. We do have rising volatility. Volatility never fell off. And this is just a really pretty interesting move. I'm not going to lie. These things are fairly hard to catch on higher time frames. And again, that's why risk management comes in. Now, there were signals on the hourly to catch this trade, 5 o'clock in the morning around my time. That signal passed around 5 o'clock in the morning. And so, again, I was only up and looking at the charts around 7, such of that nature. I wonder why that's on my screen. That won't go away. Hopefully it goes away fairly soon. It's bugging me. Anyways. Leave the keyboard to your chipmunks. Fun, not gunner. I would say fun, not gun, but I feel you, man. I feel you. Okay, so let's look at some other things here. Now, the system that we have right here is not going to be signaling a daily long. It's not going to be signaling a daily long with the system. And if I were just to take away indicator-based trading, if I were to look at the market and kind of look at where we're at, this would really, in my opinion, be an area that I want to short. This would really be an area, in my opinion, that I want to short. It's a big reactionary movement off the bottom. I think that a lot of shorts got punished. I haven't, it doesn't really matter how high Bitcoin can pump on one candle. That doesn't necessarily mean that the trend is going to flip. I know that a lot of people are calling for that. The sentiment today is overwhelmingly weighted toward the idea that this candle, this big candle, just something that happened over the last hour. So there is this sentiment out there that based on market activity in 1 hour, that all of the sentiment built up, that all of the direction built up, that all of the trend built up over the last 4 months and really initiating over the last month and a half or so, is going to just completely recant all of that. And the reality is that's just not how markets unfold. That's just not how markets unfold. Now, Bitcoin is highly volatile. Of course, we can see that right now. Did I say 13% in a day? Of course I have. But just a huge reactionary pump off of the bottom does not a bullish trend make, unfortunately. I mean, we are still in the lows. We are still in the lows, and this is a fairly impressive movement. I would be very surprised if this continues to chug along on a daily time frame. It would most likely take until tomorrow when we get a daily signal. Now, I would assume that on the 12-hour time frame, which interestingly enough, the 12-hour hasn't trend flipped, according to Heikinashi. But this evening, one would be able to take a 12-hour long. That would be slightly different. Wally, thank you so much for the $5 donation. My good friend, he says, happy 14% day. Justin, later, could you do Neo Neo BTC from Binance? Learn, earn, and don't get burned. Thank you, my good friend, for the donation. I will gladly do Neo for you. By the way, guys, mods in the chat, please do not let me forget to go over this stuff, because I do tend to go into a rabbit hole when I talk about Bitcoin's price. So I definitely want to make sure that I circle back and touch on these topics. The 12-hour is going to be signaling a long on the 7 p.m. daily close this evening if one is trading the 12-hour time frame. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, let's see here. One would have gotten the crossover to be out of the short here. And then again, yeah, just on the close of the last 4-hour candle, one could have taken the movement up. And again, that's probably not something that very many people would have done. On the hourly, you do have the signal here at about 10 o'clock a.m. UTC time, 5 a.m. My time. As I said, this was just a signal that wasn't there. Now, again, you had ample opportunity to get into here for over a span of about 3 hours, and then a huge candle to the upside, a very large candle to the upside. Now, looking at a few other things, we are pretty much right back at the top of the consolidation range that we were trading in for a long period of time. And I would say that looking here, well, let me break this down into a little bit further. I'm actually pretty surprised at this movement, actually. I'm not going to come on here in front. I'm actually pretty surprised. The reason why is because we saw a decent little candle hourly off the bottom here, and this is kind of what I saw. And then we were chugging along upwards on very low volume. Typically, that does not lead to strength. That typically means trend exhaustion. And what I've seen this many times on the hourly, typically Bitcoin just comes right back down. And again, this is an area where a lot of people are uncertain. We had a lot of liquidity to the downside at this point in time, so we had a lot of stop markets to be triggered to the upside. There was a lot of incentive for anybody to take this the other way, and that's exactly what happened. This is price being taken the other way, grabbing a lot of liquidity. And so just to make this very clear, guys, I'm really not bullish off of this. This is actually this is not a good thing, I would say, for my trade. Obviously, I had a losing trade based off of this, but I do think that this is subjectively because I'm going to trade whichever way my indicators tell me to trade. But just looking at this as an analyst, this actually worries me. A more sustained positive movement to the upside would have been better for me. I think that I don't think that this is retail. It's very unlikely that this is retail. This was somebody testing the order book depth, and that's just my subjective opinion. I could be wrong about that. I haven't gone over the order flow analysis of today. I haven't looked at the books. I haven't looked at the executions off of the large exchanges yet. I'll probably do that tonight and try to get an idea based off of that data. Again, it's subjective data because it's not like there's names tied to these individuals. You just see anonymous executions that are entered and ordered. But again, with liquidity stacked, we see this in Forex all the time. With liquidity stacked so much in one direction, with so much liquidity to be grabbed in the form of triggering stop markets, this really does seem like that kind of movement. And I still think that individuals that grabbed a short on these wicks or will be grabbing a short around these areas will most likely be rewarded. Now, we'll see what happens with the daily. As I said, the daily likely isn't going to trend flip to the upside until tomorrow. So we'll see if we can hang around up here for a day. A couple things to watch out for. And again, I'll point this out because this is, I don't like throwing out like random data sets that aren't based off a lot of data. But one thing that is fairly evident to see is that, after a fairly decent trend, when Bitcoin puts in a spinning top doji, which is a very short, fat candle with smaller wicks to the up and downside, and then you get a pullback candle in the opposite direction, that is generally a fairly reliable, and again, not reliable to the point where I want to trade off of it, but it is a fairly reliable indication of trend flip. You can see this is more of a little bit of a long-legged doji over here, but here's a good example of that phenomenon right here. And this is, it's not a great, honestly, example, but again, you have movement to the downside. We'll turn off Heikin-Ashi color change right here, so you can see the movement to the downside. Price puts in a doji. This is better because it's off of the baseline, so this is a reversal baseline bounce. So you get that nice movement to the upside. Price stalls out in the form of a doji. You get a down candle, and then price moves to the downside. You get a doji candle. Price moves to the upside. Doji candle, price moves to the downside. Couple dojis, price moves to the upside. So, I'd say that based on, and again, there's more examples over here. There's a good example 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 here, right? So literally it seems that almost every significant trend flip has occurred with price moving in one dominant direction, putting in a doji, which is an indecision candle, and then it moves fairly violently away from that direction. So Again, I've warned many times about the dangers of price action analysis. But that I think that when you see certain data, it's important to point that out because that might form a part of your trading strategy that you would like to implement into your system. So, what would we be looking for based off of that? We'd be waiting for a doji on the daily time frame to take price in the opposite direction. Other than that, as I said, so I'm not sitting in an active trade on Bitcoin at the moment. I'm actually completely flat. And the reason why is because I don't reactionary trade. There's nothing to do. I missed the hourly long signal that could have taken. And I mean, the best thing from a risk perspective is to do absolutely nothing at this point in time. This is going to fall right into the realm of chasing FOMO if you long the top of this candle, and it really doesn't matter what follows after this. It's the psychological setup and discipline, because Bitcoin will have a long lifetime of trading up, down, below, all kinds of important levels. So we're just going to watch Bitcoin here at this point in time, and we're going to wait. There are a couple levels that I think are fairly interesting to watch. Our most recent high that we haven't overcome to put in an actual higher high yet is around 88.07. So it's about $100 higher, which Bitcoin is attempting to make a chance to climb up right now. The other thing to consider too is that Bitcoin is now cresting above its previous high. So we'll just kind of wait and see what happens. But again, the big thing that I want to do today, and I feel like this is important because I don't really hear like other people talk about this. Kristen, thanks so much for the subscription on YouTube, and Zuhair, thank you so much for the other $2 as well. Let me read your comment. It says monthly healthy bounce off the 10 simple moving average, testing the Tenkan. And again, yeah, let me get to the specific technicals of your questions here in just a moment, man. Thank you so much. I highly appreciate that. And mods, please don't let me forget if I carry on here for a little bit longer. But I think my main purpose as a trader and as somebody who wants to who comes on here regularly every single day, it would seem, and tries to give my best guidance, advice, mentorship, patience, discipline, all of these things that I try to offer. I think it's always inherent upon me or incumbent upon me to give the most important type of advice. And I think the most important type of advice is that if you were in a losing short, this is not a trade you should chase, whether or not the trade moves to the upside. Cool, thank you, man. Whether this is something that barrels off to the upside, it doesn't matter because you're entering for the wrong reasons. Now, if you have a system on the lower time frames that is signaling you for an entry, then by all means, please go ahead. But if you are reactionary trading, not based off of any signal and not based off of any form of objective analysis, then you're making a mistake. And if you were in a winning trade, then I have nothing to say but congratulations. Do not allow your win to push you into a situation. Yeah. Do not allow your win to push you into a situation where you are blind with greed. Make sure to lock in some profit and make your trade a no loss situation. Generally, anytime something like this would occur on Bitcoin, if I would be long on this movement, I would absolutely take profit. At this point in time, most likely set a trailing stop loss because this is not in a realm of daily volatility. This is in a, what I mean by that is this is not a daily signal. This is a very quick reactionary movement on the lower time frames. And so because of that, you're going to be using the volatility of that time frame. So, you can actually set somewhat of a wider stop loss at this point in time. I think that a good opportunity at this point in time would be to set something of a trailing stop loss. Let's see here. Well, on the hourly, you'd be setting a trailing stop loss right around 85.50. With that big volatility, especially if you were long from somewhere below 8,400, I would be okay with, making that a little wider, 8,400 or so, especially for the purposes of trailing. Really, the best way to do it would be around that 85.50, 85.20. But with that being said, let's watch the lower time frames because that's what's going to be exciting on Bitcoin. And we're going to see what happens. We're going to see if we get another leg up or what I think is more likely rejection at this point in time or consolidation. All right. So let's go over the chat and see if I can't answer questions. And the first thing that I want to do is get to those donation questions first. Excuse me. Oh, okay, that's why I don't see them. Today is the 25th. In other news, guys, San Francisco Blockchain Week is coming up in just a few days, and I am overly excited. Overly excited. I just confirmed everything today. We've got a ton of interviews rolling in, and I couldn't be more happy. We're going to be interviewing now confirmed Seller. We're going to be interviewing Seller Network, Kava Network, Binance's latest, Kava Labs. Okay. Zuhair Nakvi, thank you so much again for the $2 donation. He says, testing the daily 200 exponential moving average. Another daily lower high. Okay, that definitely falls into what I would assume. So let's zoom out a little bit. Let's get rid of our regular baseline. Let's actually go to the indicators and go to, we're just going to search for cracking on TradingView. And if you guys have never used any of our indicators of Cracking Cryptocurrency, all you have to do is go to TradingView or go to tv.crackingcryptocurrency.com. There is a link down in the description below. A lot of our indicators are locked for premium members, but the CC EMA indicator is not. So yes, we are testing the silver 200 exponential moving average right now. We have made a nice blast over the daily 8, over the daily 13, over the daily 21. So we are at the secondary baseline. We've talked about the secondary baseline before as a significant level of support and resistance. We have, what is that? The 200 simple. Let's see here real quick. Double check my color scheme here. Yeah, the 200, no. This is the simple 200 moving average, my friend. That is what we are testing right now. And let's make that purple. Okay. Yeah, this is the simple 200 moving average, my friend. Okay, hold on. Let me get my color scheme right here. I haven't used this indicator in a while, so let me just make sure that everything I'm doing is correct. Okay, yeah, actually, no, that's right. I didn't have the white, which I confused for the silver here, so let me recapitulate there and actually talk about what I mean here. Yeah, so we are above the 200 exponential moving average on the daily, and we aren't quite to the 200 simple moving average. Where we are at, and this now makes more sense to me from the way that I trade, is at the daily 55 exponential moving average, which again, as you guys are familiar with, when we're using exponential moving averages for what we do, we're using the 13, the 21, and the 55, primary, secondary, and tertiary baseline. That's actually in reverse order because the 13 is the primary baseline, the 55 is the secondary baseline, and the 21 is the tertiary. The tertiary baseline does some stuff for risk management and allows us to enter some trades, but the 55 exponential moving average on the daily and especially on the weekly time frame is more significant. I'm not, listen, I think that the 100 and the 200 on the weekly, and I apologize for getting those wrong. I just had to kind of review my color scheme here and make sure I was looking at the right exponential moving averages. But now that I've got this clear, no, we are at the daily 55 exponential moving average and receiving rejection. And again, this is, so I wasn't wanting to go long on this just based off where we were in relation to the baseline and liquidity. But again, from a technical indicator perspective, looking at our secondary baseline, this is another big red flag as to not go long. And again, as I said, this is an area where subjectively I would love to be going short from. I think that those going short from this area would be rewarded. So we'll see. Now, let me look more closely at your question, see if I didn't miss anything there. Another daily lower high. Well, we have made an equal high. We ran right up and grabbed liquidity above the recent high of this consolidation area, which doesn't surprise me. But yeah, overall, in the grand scheme of things, this is not a positive looking chart, guys. I mean, this is a great bullish looking candle, but if you look at what we've experienced over and over and over again, is lower and lower highs. So bringing back up, so something that I will do here real quick is I will pull open VPVR. And we talked about 7,400 previously. Let's actually just look from the top of the bull market down. There we go. And the level is still consistent. It's actually 63.41. This is the BitMEX chart that we're looking at right now. But the two levels that I've had on my chart over and over and over again, 7,400 and 6,400. So unless we get some significant trend reversal, and what does that take? It takes several days of bullishness. Like we still need to be bullish come Monday. That's trend reversal. Then we can be looking at this being the local bottom for right now. But as it sits right now, we haven't seen that, and I don't think we're not likely to see that or have confirmation until Monday. The trend is still bearish. The trades are still to the downside. And it sucks if you got pushed out of a trade. Look at me. It sucks if you got pushed out of a trade from shorting the daily signal. But that does not change the direction of the trend. It does not change market dynamics. That does not change. Doesn't change the direction, guys. Victorian Violet says, this is crazy, but good times. Let the good times roll, my friend. All right. Getting to the next donation. GBU Wally, he says, happy 14% day. Justin, later, could you do Neo BTC from Binance? Sure, man. Now, let's go look over at Crypto Bubbles before we do that. Here's the interesting thing, man. And perhaps things have changed over the last hour or so. Let's actually go look and see. No, not dramatically. So let's give this a refresh and see if that changes. Interestingly. There we go. There we go. So what's really interesting about this movement, and I want to point this out because I wanted to mention this especially. I mentioned it to a degree earlier in the premium group, but I wanted to mention it more specifically later on this evening. Alt BTC pairs rallied fairly strongly today, while Bitcoin was moving up weekly, and then as soon as Bitcoin popped to the upside, alt BTC values fell. Why? Because Bitcoin is now outperforming them. That number shifts dynamically. The performance of alt to BTC trades, independent of massive market movement, is always being made relative to the valuation of BTC to USD. If BTC is not performing, so if BTC USD is not outperforming alt to USD, then alt to BTC naturally moves up because the altcoin is becoming more valuable weighted against Bitcoin. That's how this market moves. And then you also have, on top of that dynamic, you also have supply and demand and buyers and sellers and active market participants in the individual markets. This is why you can get, altcoin market fairly flat and then random pumps from some particular movement. But if we look at our USD valuations, we can actually see here that altcoins weighted against the dollar are still outperforming Bitcoin. They're still outperforming Bitcoin, right? So for example, BTC, this chart is weighting altcoins performance today against BTC. And with few exceptions, a lot of these are outperforming Bitcoin. Bitcoin up 10 to 16%, somewhere in that area. We have lots and lots and lots of coins that are outperforming that, meaning that with that massive movement from BTC to USD, because of that, because we are weighting our alt to BTC value or alt to USD value relative to BTC to USD as well. But again, we still have some pretty significant outliers, meaning that even if your alt to BTC value is lower, you are still maintaining more value against the dollar than by holding on to a Bitcoin position, which is pretty neat because, again, this is why for my trade. So I'll give you guys an example, right? If you guys were to look at my trading journal right now, I have several altcoin trades. Now, because those are alt to BTC trades, they are in the red as of right now because they've pulled down. A couple different, but some of them are in the red because they've pulled down, right? Because their weight against BTC has not outperformed. Now, when I actually close out my trade and calculate my USD gain off of that trade, I will have made money on trades that on their face look like losing trades. It's not a guarantee until I close the trade. But again, BTC to USD moving up, when your alt BTC trade moves down, you've lost Bitcoin, but you generally have made money. And if your alt to BTC held its value relatively well, then you actually made more money than longing BTC. So keep that in mind. That might be a complicated or slightly nuanced or more complicated for new traders. And understanding the triangular arbitrage the triangular arbitrage flow, how the markets are made, how the markets react naturally to BTC to USD. But that is the case. And that's why I always publish, if you guys go check out results.crackingcryptocurrency.com, or I've started doing it better recently because we have a better automated system to do it now, is P&L adjusted trading results, right? So the difference between what we do, by the way, in the group and what I've noticed everybody who tries to be us does is that people will post their trading journal or their log, and they will only write in their percentage gains or losses from the actual trade. So for example, I entered into BTC USD here, right? And I sold here, and that is a 7% movement. So I'm going to write a 7% movement. And then same for an altcoin. They will say, okay, well, I entered into an altcoin here, and then the altcoin went to there, so I made 12%. Okay, that all sounds dandy. And then they'll publish these results on Twitter or wherever or they'll talk about them on their YouTube channel. And they will say like, okay, look, I made 70, 80, 90, 2000%. Okay, right. But those numbers don't matter, because when you say that, people naturally assume like that's how much you made in dollar terms, but you didn't. In fact, you can post those results and actually make quite little. Why? So if you have 10% trades, okay, so 10 trades that move up 10%, you could say, I made 100% this month. But if you only risked $1 per trade, you made $1. You know what I mean? So it's not, or excuse me, if you risked less than 10 cents per trade, like if you risked less than $1 per trade. So anyways, my point is you always have to put in your position size in either BTC, so you can get an actual account of how much money you actually made, and USD, and see if your trading strategy outperforms alpha. Now, I think that most basic trading strategies outperform a buy and hold strategy, to be honest with you, on a monthly basis, on a monthly liquidity basis. Long-term buy and hold is a great strategy. And that's why, again, I am also an investor in Bitcoin as well as a trader. I rely on trading cryptocurrencies for active income, and I rely on investing in cryptocurrencies so that I can gift generational wealth down to my children. That is my entire approach to life. Let's see here. So yeah, be cautious about that, I think, is my main point with that. You know, you want people to be, I don't want to discourage anybody from posting the results, but people need to understand that once you step into that realm of like posting your results, especially if you're trying to brag about them, it's pretty easy for somebody who's been doing this for a long time to tear you down. And that's why we've been able to do this so long. That's why we've been doing this so long. And, you know, people ask questions like, you know, we've never ever had, and I'm proud of that. I'm really, really proud of that, because I work really hard to provide the best service that I can for the premium members. I work really, really hard to provide the best trade setups, to provide the best education, to teach everything that I've learned as a trader and convey that to individuals. And we've been doing this for 2 years. And I've seen everybody else that tries to do that, don't know what they're talking about, get torn down by the community in about 3 months. And there's nothing negative that anybody can say about us. So, which is pretty neat, And we work hard for that. So, and that's not all me. A lot of that goes to my team. Everybody that I work with is, I mean, I said it yesterday. I cannot say thank you enough to the hard work, the ethics, the discipline, and the character of the people that I work with. You guys continue to push me every single day, not just the other analysts and staff members of Cracking Cryptocurrency, but also the members as well. You are all absolutely fantastic people, and it is really my joy to be able to do this with you every single day. It's been a pleasure, guys. It really has, and it will continue to be a pleasure. What was I going to say? Getting back to Wally, he wants to take a look at Neo BTC. So the reason I did that prelude is because I wanted to talk about, we're going to probably be looking at any alt BTC pairs we look at right now. We're probably going to look negative, but if we look at their alt USD, it's generally not that bad. So again, yeah, big pullback on Neo BTC here. In Neo BTC terms, we are down about 5% on the daily. Again, I think largely, and again, my sentiment is still this. I still think that altcoins are quite bullish. These are some pretty big drops, and it might take us I don't think we're going to just bounce back immediately, which is unfortunate. But I think that people who have their sentiments squirreled in the right place, I think will be rewarded, because this is we're seeing a big reactionary movement of devaluation in altcoins to Bitcoin because of BTC to USD's rise up. But if we look at alt to USD values relatively across the board, they're performing quite well. In fact, some of them are still outperforming BTC, even with the altcoin to BTC moving down. So having said that, I don't really think that anything that we're going to see, by the way, is going to be indicative of trend reversal. I'm still quite bullish on most altcoins. But looking from a daily perspective, let's go back and look at the last PTP long signal. Would have been on this candle right here. Could have taken a long on this candle right here. Would have caught a TP1, potentially TP2, maybe even TP2. Let's go back and look. Let's not wishes and fishes. Let's actually go look. Just a TP1 actually on that trade. So decent trade. You would have been out at break even actually on this movement to the downside. Cool. Yeah, liquidity is being grabbed. Thank you very much. You'd be out of break even. But again, for the longer term hold, there's not really anything that's happened. We're still trading in this quite tight consolidation range with our lows fairly well established and our highs fairly well established. To be quite honest with you, man, I think I'm going to be very consistent with what I said the last time I looked at Neo, which is I think, again, I have a position in Neo, and it is 2 daily closes below our current low at 828 that would make me rethink that, because then again, the potentiality of actually plummeting a little bit more and forming a lower low would be possible. But until that happens and until that occurs, price continues to trade in this range. Still feel pretty good about Neo. We won't really have anything to call home to mom about until we get a daily candle close or 2 above 995, which is where our current level of resistance is at. And there's really not a whole lot to say, man. It's just a reactionary movement off the top. Will it take us a little while to bounce back? Yes, probably. I don't think that we're going to V-bottom reversal at a lot of these altcoin trades. I think that some will. They're all to BTC values. But again, if we go look, and I could be wrong, so I'd like to question. Yeah, if we go look at Neo USD, if we actually look at Neo USD, we can see that it's not too bad. Neo USD is up 8.68% on the daily. So, you're losing sats, but you're not losing dollars. You actually have more dollars than you had before you took the trade. Now, Neo isn't outperforming BTC. Now, Neo isn't outperforming BTC. BTC, again, up 15% on the daily, wicking higher, honestly, and having a nice about 5% pullback, as we're seeing right now. 3.21% as we sit. So that's something that I like to do frequently as well, is look at, and this is really important, especially for newer traders who don't really understand that triangular arbitrage dynamic of moving from 1 to 1 to 1, or understanding that alt to USD, that you can actually lose sat value and make dollars, right? Very similar to the concept of when you open up a short for the exact amount of money that you have in Bitcoin and you trade that for a while, and say price goes up, and on ByBit, it's going to be displaying that you're and BitMEX. On ByBit, because they automatically display the dollar valuation of the BTC, it looks like you're losing dollars, but you're not. You have the exact same amount of dollars as when you put on the short, as long as you're hedged. If you take more risk than the capital that you have, then you can lose dollars. But again, price moves up. When you're in a hedge short, you don't lose dollars. You just lose Satoshis. You have the same amount of dollars, but you have less Bitcoin. And that Bitcoin that you have is now worth more. So less Bitcoin equals the same amount of capital that you initially had. So again, if you look at Neo to the dollar, it's actually performing quite well. In fact, Neo to the dollar bouncing off of its lows, right? So again, I think that altcoins are going to continue to outperform Bitcoin as we move forward out of this, and I don't think the trend has changed. So I'm actually feel pretty good about NEO, man. Getting to Mr. Knockv's second question, he says, is the monthly healthy? Bounce off the 10 simple moving average and testing the 10. I don't use the 10 simple moving average. We will look at the monthly. I don't really look at the monthly too much with BTC. I don't think that long-term predictions on price can be made in a sustainable way. Is the monthly healthy? The monthly doesn't really look spectacular. We haven't really had a bullish engulfing monthly candle. All we've seen is continual down pressure, and this is the weekly chart. So on the monthly, yeah, we've just had continual movement to the downside. And again, one nice wick back up does not a trend shift make. Does not a trend shift make. Interestingly, we did get a nice monthly reversal baseline bounce so far, putting in for a very, fairly short stature trade here on the monthly time frame. Obviously, on the monthly, if one was trading the monthly, I mean, you're looking at taking big swings. And very similar, here's the monthly 55, and this is actually where I began to get a little, again, I don't buy reversals, but again, where I started talking about potential in back in December, because again, the 55 exponential moving average, I think, is probably one of the most important lines you can have on your chart for long-term trend analysis. On the weekly time frame, we're in that jaws of the crocodile that I've talked about many times before. On the weekly, and let's actually take a bunch of these off if you don't mind. So I'm going to take the 8 off. I'm going to take everything but the 13, the 21, and the 55 off. So we've already fallen below, on the weekly time frame, we've already fallen below the weekly 13 exponential moving average, the weekly 21 exponential moving average. We're consolidating between the 21 and the weekly 55, which generally is the worst place to trade. Which generally is the worst place to trade when you're consolidating between the jaws of the crocodile, right? And look exactly what happened over here. I just want to bring your attention to this. Look what happened the last time we traded in the jaws of the crocodile. We were coming from below to above, and then we consolidated in between the 21 and the 55 exponential moving average for 4 weeks, and then explosive movement in the dominant direction of the trend. In this scenario, guys, regardless of how excited the bulls want to get, in this scenario, guys, we consolidated. We're moving down. The dominant trend is down. We are now consolidating for 4 weeks between the 21 weekly and the 55 weekly exponential moving average. And what would likely happen is explosive movement to the downside. It's explosive movement to the downside. People have this idea, and again, there is this concept going around that the sentiment is very bearish. Therefore, the market's going to move to the upside. I don't think that's true. I think the sentiment is overwhelmingly irrationally bullish. I mean, it seems like every trader that I talk to, even so this is yesterday. This is before this candle. This is the whole last week. Every trader that I can think of, a lot of them, not all of them, but quite a few traders have been talking about buying the dip here, buying the dip here, buying the dip here. And so far it hasn't worked out for them, man, because the trend is different, dude. The trend is different. And so this is, while this is a pretty nice, impressive candle, and it's pretty neat to see that Bitcoin can do that, man, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything. So I don't think the monthly looks healthy, Zuhair. I don't think the weekly looks healthy, and I think the daily looks treacherous is the correct term for this. This is treacherous. This is a treacherous candle. This is a grab for liquidity to make anybody who shorted this region right here scream their heads off, and to make the bulls get really confident, and perhaps we do get a little bit more bullish price appreciation from here. If we close above the daily 55, I would definitely be changing my tune and probably looking for a long, because that's just the statistically likely thing to do. But beyond and above and prior to that, I would be looking for exactly what is my system telling me to do. And as I said, not getting a long signal today. It's possible that we get one tomorrow. If I take a trade on Saturday, it'll be at least half risk, if not lower, because I really don't like this space, but I'll still take the trade. You've seen, that's the thing, guys. There are going to be some people who come on here and they're like, hey, man, the last 2 trades that you made a big deal about, we think you lost. Okay, cool. But the reality is you're going to come in here a month from now, and then another month from now, and then another month from now, and I'm going to be taking the trades that it doesn't matter how I feel, I'm following my technical strategy. And over time, I have always been a consistently profitable trader. That's the difference. I'm in this game for the long run. I might have a losing trade. In fact, as I said yesterday, October has not been my best month. But I have put in consistent double-digit gains almost every single month this year. And so I'm pretty comfortable with paying my dues in October. Pretty okay with giving a little bit of that back to the market. That's going to happen. And if somebody isn't okay with that, if somebody feels the need to be right every time or all the time or more often than not, or be able to do gotchas with traders, those people are jokes and they don't last, man. They don't last. I've been doing this for a long, long time. And everybody who comes in here to be right ends up losing money. People who come in here and lose the ego and they focus on making money, even if that requires losing money for periods of time, they are the people who go on to do great things. But as in all things, the immature do not prosper. And the meek inherit the world. I want to touch on that because I just want to quote Jordan Peterson on that. I really like that quote, the meek shall inherit the world. But if you guys listen, I don't know how many of you guys like Jordan Peterson, but he was speaking about that, and I listened to him, and he said, from his study of the Bible, because I don't know if you guys are familiar, but Jordan Peterson did a huge thing on the Bible, and this isn't to push Christianity or anything like that. I am not Christian. He said that translation seems to be wrong. He says that the original translation of that word, meek, was those who have swords but choose not to use them. Okay? So that is, I think that's the better. The meek. So those who are brave but kind, right? So those who could tear you apart with their acidic words, because we're living in an age of technology where it's all like social media, and so really the slings and arrows are not physical slings and arrows; they're more like social media slings and arrows. I think this can be applied to anything, but particularly I see it in trading a lot. A lot of the trading community is cannibals. They try to eat each other up, and that's very different from what we try to do in our community. We try to build people up and give them the tools and techniques that they need to succeed, and then we're there to support them in their good times and the bad times. I think that's the point of having a good community. That's what a community is supposed to do. Community is not supposed to be, yeah, man, like I nailed it and you sucked, or oh, I got it wrong. I hate myself. Come on, man, that's kid stuff, dude. It's time to grow up. There's real money on the table here. It's time to grow up. But yeah, the people who could do the most damage but choose not to, and instead focus not on being right, but instead focus on making money, they do good things. So remember that. All right, let's go down to the lower time frames here on Bitcoin because they're kind of fun to watch, and we'll go back. All right. Ferguson says, sometimes you got to get your nose down and take a good look on it. P&W Flipper caught the pump. Congratulations, my friend. Farbod, just look at Litecoin. Oh, I got a bag of Litecoin, my friend. Look at LTC USD. Expecting a little pullback. That would be an understatement, my friend. Gui says, hello. It's a beautiful day. Doesn't matter where the market goes. We can make good trades, but it's so much beautiful to see the market go up. Let's see here. Cryptonomics, total manipulation. What up, Justin? This is a crazy candle, says Fifth Ronin. You are right, man. Is this April 1st, 2019 all over again? Crypto Jack asks. The nerd Robert says, this market is a joke. Satoshi Nakafomo says, yesterday I was $16,000 down and I just walked away and a $6,000 gain. I'm okay for the day. There you go, man. Nerd Robert bought all in since 3,400 and he's not going to sell until 300,000. You heard it here first, folks. What are my thoughts on the altcoin market cap breaking a 4-month downtrend? I'm bullish on altcoins, man. Yeah, Greg says, as report, yeah, so a couple people asked me if I heard the news about China. I did. I hate to point to that. I always hate doing that. Like, oh, look at this news event. This is why Bitcoin pumped. you know, you guys got like 6 or 7 other YouTubers who are gonna come on and try to do that. I think the technicals are what happens. Chaka421 says to the moon. It's hard says, am I panicking? If you have to ask, you probably are. Mervin Skidmore, again, let me remind you, man, go look at your alt to USD value and the situation might be different. Philip asks if I can adopt him if he has the peppers ready in San Fran so I can benefit from your esteemed, the papers ready. So you can benefit from my esteemed inheritance. Not looking to grab any more kids, man, but we can definitely be friends, brother. Fellow traders, tonight we dine in hell. I love you guys, man. I really, really love you guys. Ken D, right now, so I have my headphones on so I can talk to my production team so they can bring things up to me. If I forget something, and they'll also keep me on track because I talk about Bitcoin for like an hour and then I don't get to super chats or anything like that, or questions, which are good regardless if somebody donates or not. So we don't, but we do have a fireside chat. We got a bunch of voice channels in there, man. And I did see your message, but I haven't responded to it yet. I haven't had a chance to respond to a lot of messages. Does this move affect a death cross? I don't really. You know me. I don't really look at death crosses, but we can definitely take a look at it. What time frame were we supposed to get a death cross on? I think there is a death cross indicator. Death cross 50 and 200. Here's it seems like we have a death cross indicator right here. What do we got? Oh, why are there 3 colors? I'd like to know why there are 3 colors. So I'm assuming this is the... Oh, 50, 100, and 200. Okay. It would be nice if whoever wrote the script like knew how to... It'd be nice if whoever wrote the script like knew how to write Pine script. So let's go find somebody who does. Mr. TVL, I'm sorry, sir. Fail. There we go. Okay, so talking about the most classic death cross of the 50 simple moving average and the 200 simple moving average, could it forestall it? Could it forestall it? Could it forestall it? I don't know. It looks fairly inevitable at this point in time. Here we have the previous golden cross on Bitcoin, seemed to do pretty well. And here we have the next death cross on BTC, seemed to do pretty well. Now, the reality is that I have gone through and done analysis on this. And again, I hate to do this because it does juxtapose my feeling, but I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Here's a golden cross and market moves down. And here's a death cross, market moves up. And here's a golden cross, price does move up on that one. And then if we go back prior to that, here's a death cross, price moves up, golden cross, price moves down, death cross, price moves down. So it's more wrong. It's more wrong than it is right most of the time. But again, not like 80-20. It's kind of like 70-30, which makes it just fairly unreliable. But generally, if you would have long death crosses and shorted golden crosses, most of the time you would have made money. Again, I know a lot of people are looking at this as a big thing. And as I've said, often when we get a base, I've said this many times before too, and I know you guys watching, like, remember this. Often when we get a moving average cross under, like this happens, right? This happens where price does pull back in a fairly significant way to test that point of breakdown, Okay, cool. Looked like I was disconnected there for a second, which is odd, but it seems like we're still here. No harm, no foul. Let's just try refreshing the page. There we go. Cool. Okay, cool. I'm glad I did refresh the page. Eli back. Thank you so much for the $10 donation, my friend. He says, third profitable day in a row, man. Sold off on my solve care last night when I saw BSV forming a bull flag. Rode it up 35% with BTC, and now I can relax. Out of Bitcoin for a while until we retrace. That's my man, dude. My man. Congratulations, my friend. So again, I think that there are many things pointing to this being an attractive area to short. It's not the move that I'm making because that is not my strategy. I will make money very well over time. But if we take the baseline away and we do look at CC-EMA, again, very nice, beautiful reversal baseline bounce off of the secondary baseline right here. You guys want to look at the 100 and you guys want to look at the 50 simple moving average, the 100 simple moving average, the 200 simple moving exponential moving average. Let me direct your eyes to this beautiful 55 moving average, baby, because that's exactly where we went to. I don't use it because I just like to. I use it because it works. All right. One love to all the enslaving banking disruptors. All right. This does not reflect the death metal. Why are ZERP people such loony bins? I mean, you know, you start to get a little loopy when your main investment's down very high, man. Right, yeah, Alu, Penn Snyder, you are, Penn Sider, you are correct. He says many times right after or right before, I would correct there, a death cross, the market pumps, then drops a few days after the death cross. Now, I've talked about this a lot with moving average crossovers. So let's go look at... All right, so here's a good example. Let's get rid of the 21, and I just want to look at the 13 and the 55. So if you guys will recall, if you guys want to go back to February, we were live streaming this. We went short on the close of this candle right here. We shorted this movement, and this is right after the 1355 bullish cross, moving average bullish cross. Price just puts in a massive fuck you candle to the downside. Right? Price consolidates for a while, and then we don't get the moving average cross back under. But that moving average crossover did tell us that the direction was up. Excuse me. But we did get a big fuck you candle to the downside prior to that. Let's go look at the fake out. And then here we go. Here's another good example. Look, here's the moving average cross under to the downside, which I think these work much better than golden crosses. But and then, you know, we consolidate for 3 days right on the candle closes here. That confirms the cross under. The death cross, if you want, 3 days, and then it shoots right back up, liquidates all the shorts. And then what happens? Price goes down, okay? So, you know, I feel that based on that, the trend is still bearish. We haven't seen anything to change the long-term trend. But again, looking at that death cross, it looks like we're about to get the death cross on the 5200. So I would not be surprised. And I'm not surprised to see that same kind of activity right here. Reactionary move up to that significant level, and then consolidation for a few days, and then rejection. All right, guys, with that being said, we are going to take a brief break. Now, listen, as we take that brief break, hey, guys, what's up? Listen, San Francisco Blockchain Week is just a few days away. On Sunday, my toes will be stepping onto the lovely American Airlines plane, flying to San Francisco and sticking my toes in the sandy beaches of California. Now, I'm really looking forward to San Francisco Blockchain Week. To the best of my understanding, tickets for Epicenter are still available. So if you want to nab some tickets, there is a link down in the description below, which will save you 15% off your ticket purchase. And they're not terribly expensive, but they're also not like extremely cheap. It's not a bottle of soda, guys. But I'm super excited. As far as I know, I got to pull up like the list. The list of individuals that we got locked down to interview is pretty awesome. Kava Labs, individuals from the World Economic Forum. We've got people from the Human Rights Council. We've got Seller that we're going to be interviewing. We've got Binance US that we're going to be interviewing. Really, really beyond thrilled. And that's only like, I think like 30 or 40% of the people that we got locked down to talk to and shows. And we're going to be live streaming down there. We're going to be live streaming the event. We're going to be doing podcasts. We're going to be interviews, and we're going to be doing some live trading as well, because I'm sure that we're going to meet either some, it's kind of going to be interesting. I'm kind of have my eye out for like other crypto YouTubers down there to see if, to see what their live TA looks like. So anyways, challenge is set. Anyways, guys, we're going to be right back. We're going to take a brief break. Link down in the description if you guys want to grab some tickets to San Francisco Blockchain Week. They are more expensive on the main website, so it's just down there to help you guys out. And make sure to hit the thumbs up button while you're waiting for us, guys, or give us a follow if you're over there on Twitch or D Live and you enjoy the analysis. Jeff Coffin, thank you so much for the subscription over there on YouTube, my friend. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for popping back in with us and joining us for the live stream. If you are just tuning in, we had a fantastic first hour. So don't rewind now. Stay with us in the moment, but definitely when you get a chance, go back and watch that first hour. The word from Jack's Illuminati uncle is that the USA is going to default and XRP will be the new reserve currency at the reset. XRP guys have known all along. I should have been reading the newsletter. All right. Marty Martin says, what is the best place for U.S. residents to dabble in some beginner trading? Been investing using Coinbase, but I got to make, I think that's 498 billion. Or actually, I think that's 4.9 trillion% to beat the fees. You know, the fees are still not bad, to be honest with you, like relative to trading most other assets. I say this all the time, like people who complain about fees in crypto generally have never traded Forex or generally traded stocks. But I will say that, in my opinion, one of the best exchanges to trade on, if you're a beginner, is ByBit. Now, you do have to use a VPN if you're in the United States, and that's going to be a personal decision. There are links to ByBit and the VPN that I use down in the description below. Both will save you some money or give you some money, depending on which link you click. Other than that, I mean, honestly, there's not a lot of great choices for United States residents right now. There's just really not. There's not. There are good legal ways to get around that. I think that's the best option. I think that those who want to be serious traders will seek those options out, like how to trade on exchanges. Hint, it's called incorporating outside of the United States as a corporation and trading as a corporation. But you want to get somebody to help you set that up and make sure that you do it right. But it's not hard to do. It's not illegal to do, and then you don't have to worry about those problems. You should go check out El Diablo. It's interesting and can get a great view from the north on a trail, says Third Eye Trader. I am looking forward to California, man. I really am. Andrew says, all algos pointing north on Silva. Ferguson is looking to enter shorts at this point. Pretty dangerous to play with this pump. Let's see here. Basically, you go in and buy BTC, then move the coins, not the USD, to an exchange of choice, right? Correct. Yep. You just transfer the BTC to the deposit address at your exchange. Yep. Regardless of what exchange you're going to be trading on, whether that's Bittrex or Binance. Now, Bittrex is not a bad exchange. Bittrex has USD and is available to United States citizens. I think that Bittrex is probably one of the better ones out there. But, it kind of runs into the same issues that you would have had on Binance prior to them launching margin. Binance margin trading has picked up quite a bit, but again, that's also not available to United States citizens. Again, I've just talked about there's ways to get around this, but anyways, back down to the LTF. All right, I think so. Yeah. So overall, my sentiment is that price comes down. Yes. I would not long this movement. Especially right where we're at. A lot of strong market buys and price not moving very far. You have to ask yourself, who is absorbing that order flow? Who is absorbing the order flow? If there is a lot of buying occurring and price is stagnant or moving in the opposite direction, somebody's absorbing that order flow, and it's a bigger trader than the people buying. Let's take a quick break and go look at Forex and our precious metals, and then we've got some interesting news to go over today. So to the Forex charts. And we've only got until the daily close today, so let's go look at nothing happening over the weekend. Daylight savings time shift tomorrow, guys. Remember that. And coming up, nothing really interesting coming in on Monday for the Forex market. So pretty wide open to trade whatever we want. We'll go back to the daily. Aussie yen still not looking for longs at this point in time. In fact, we're gonna have full confirmation to be out of longs. Let's actually put that back on. We had full confirmation to be out of longs on yesterday's daily close, actually. Aussie Kiwi potentially looking at a trend shift, but looking for a reversal baseline bounce to potentially re-add to the position at this point in time. Aussie Canadian, again, in this for a while. This is the trade that I talked about yesterday, taking that full risk short. Overall, hasn't really moved very far. Right back down at that previous support level, looking for that breakdown on the Aussie CAD. No initiation of anything new off of today's close. The Aussie dollar, again, I was in a profitable position on this. Hit my break-even stop loss on this candle right here. Actually, I entered right around here, so and no trade to be taken yet on the Aussie dollar. Canadian Swissy, looks like I'm going to be nabbing some profit on the Canadian Swissy today. It is just teasing with my take profit right there, baby. Go, go, go. We'll go to the, while I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and move my stop loss to break even in anticipation of that. Let's do the Canadian yen. Again, still very weakly grinding its way up there. No trade to be made at this point in time. The Swissy yen is looking for a reversal, but nothing at this point in time. The Euro Aussie is still moving pretty tightly in consolidation. There's no trades to be taken here. Let's take a look at the indicators. Yeah, nothing to do on the Euro Aussie. I'd be kind of gearing up for either a reversal long or the breakdown short, depending on which way the market decides to move. The Euro CAD will be giving a full risk short signal today. So we're actually going to mark that, see if we can't grab that before today's daily close. Euro Swissy, nothing to do. The Euro Kiwi, nothing to do. The Euro Pound, nothing to do. The Euro Yen, there's nothing to do here. The Euro Dollar, there's nothing to do. Let's look at our pound pairs. Pound Kiwi, potentially, let's see if we can get a continuation long signal, but nothing right now. Neither the Pound CAD, nor the Pound Swissy, nor the Pound Yen, nor the Pound Dollar, nor the Pound Aussie. Kiwi Dollar, also nothing to do here. Kiwi CAD, actually Kiwi CAD, there might be a full risk short signal on the table today. So let's take a look at that. Kiwi CAD, coming off today's daily close, might be a full risk short. Here's the Kiwi yen. I took profit up here on this candle. Price is pulling back down to my break-even stop loss, it seems. Let's see here. Dollar CAD. Nothing to do right here. Wouldn't chase this movement to the downside. The dollar Swissy actually looks pretty good. I need to wait and see. There's no volatility right now. So, but this is potentially going to be signaling for today's daily close, but it looks like we're not getting everything that we need. So actually not going to be taking that long. We will take a look at it. Actually, I'm going to put it on my watch list, but don't have the signals right now. Let's see here. And Aussie Swissy, again, just moving in consolidation after the breakout long signal. So we will just wait. And the dollar yuan continuing to break to the downside. Continuing to break to the downside. So not a whole lot of trades. The Euro CAD, the Kiwi CAD, and the dollar Swissy are the ones that I would be keeping my eyes on. And I'm in active positions on the Aussie Kiwi, Aussie CAD, Canadian Swissy, Kiwi Yen, and the Aussie Swissy as well, Forex traders. All right, let's go look at CFDs, and let's go look at our precious metal CFDs. Let's see here. Gold is actually going to be giving a long signal today. Pretty nice movement to the upside, popped back down, but we do have everything firing on today's candle, which is pretty nice. Nice pre-buy back up to the upside. Let's see here. If we take this long, we're going to be looking at an ultimate target of 1560. We are currently trading at 1504. I did say I wanted to see price above 1500, which we ended up getting. Looking like stops on the way around 1523, 1541, and ultimately 1560. It's a pretty good long signal set up. Ultimately about 3.5% on gold. Just a pretty decent trade. Looking at palladium here. Looking at palladium, again, no continuation at this point in time yet. Just had a little bit of a pullback, bounced back up to the highs, and we really haven't broken above this high yet, nor are we signaling anything on the indicators. And silver. Silver is actually looking pretty darn positive. Yeah, that's a full long signal on silver as well. I'd actually expect silver to outperform gold. You are right, Andrew. Good eye. Ultimate target of about 1916. Looks like stops on the way of about 1839 and 1878 on that way up there to about $19. And we're currently sitting at about 18. So looking for a nice dollar appreciation. Again, that's going to be an ultimate target of about 6%. So looking good on silver. I feel pretty positive about that. I would be long on gold and silver right now. And platinum. Platinum is not giving us a signal to trade yet, unfortunately. Not a signal to trade on platinum. Not a signal to trade on platinum. So gold and silver look bullish, take them to the upside. Interestingly, that we're getting those long signals with Bitcoin pumping like this. Why is platinum flat while the other precious metals rally? Because platinum and palladium trade fairly independently of gold and silver, whereas gold and silver trade fairly uniformly together. All right. We'll also take a quick look at the NQ. Again, still quite bullish on the NQ. In fact, I'd probably be re-entering the NQ for this breakout trade right here. This is the NASDAQ E-mini for those of you guys not following at home. This is an index that tracks overall markets. And yeah, this is quite bullish. In fact, we got a continuation signal yesterday, actually. So one could have been long on yesterday's candle. We got the confirmation on yesterday's candle and popped back up. Here we go. S&P, looking at the S&P 500 futures. Again, same thing, bullish signal. In fact, we never got the signal to exit. Let's see here. One would have been long here in this range right here. Didn't grab this movement, but did get in this consolidation. I think we're going to see a nice breakout. Looking at the Dow. Let's see here. Yeah, continuation trade on the Dow as well. Pretty bullish on all traditional stocks as well. Pretty big rally pretty much across everything. Nice big capital flight into American markets and cryptocurrency as well. Confirmed long on the Russell 2000 over here. On the 21st of October, the candle that opened on the 21st. I'd definitely love to take that to the upside as well. Whereas VIX is sitting at about 13.16, fairly low, which is quite good. I think that bodes quite well for bullish continuation, honestly. And it also means that we haven't gotten to dangerous levels of volatility. This is good. This is a good area to buy. Makes me feel very good about my stock portfolio. Not going to lie. All right, guys. With that being said, let's hop over into the news because we've got stuff to talk about. All right. Here we are in the newsroom, and we've got quite a bit to talk about today. So our stories today are kind of going to play into each other, and I think again, I'm fairly been following the Libra developments fairly closely because I think that's very important for us as traders and as participants in this market to pay attention to what's going on in that space. And so the latest development is coming from the Visa CEO. He's making a public statement here saying that he's not necessarily done with Libra. Now, you guys will recall that previously we had talked about the malfeasance of the United States government with members from Congress sending direct congressional letterhead messages to CEOs of places like MasterCard, Visa, Stripe, PayPal, saying that, hey, we hope you guys have thought very carefully about the regulatory issues with your association with Libra. We'd hate for anything bad to happen to your companies, wink, wink. And that is the most blatant example of just the overreach of government authority into the realm of finance, and the absolute desperation to protect the dollar's economic hegemony in the world. But Visa CEO Alfred Kelly went on record today stating that the payment processing company that he runs, Visa, is still in dialogues with Facebook on the Libra project. So he made the comments in an interview with the financial publication Economic Value on October 24th. And he stressed that Visa still maintains a close relationship with Facebook on the subject of Libra's digital currency, believing that digital currencies provide a safer payment option to more people and places. Now, he said, quote, as a curious and open company, and given the leadership we have in the payments ecosystem, we want to engage in everything in the payment space until we reach a point where we believe our engagement is no longer positive, meaning we want our fingers in as many pies as possible until the blowback becomes overwhelming. That's the translation for that, guys. Kelly, he continued on in this interview by saying that the Libra project is fundamentally disruptive in nature. Potentially, he's never heard of Bitcoin. And more time will be needed for its implementation and to allow Libra to address the regulatory concerns, which, as we saw Zuckerberg in front of Congress the other day trying to deal with those issues. Now, he did address one of the biggest misconceptions, he thought, which that Libra is not centralized, and that although the proposal, quote, was developed by Facebook, all members of the Libra Association have the same decision-making power and control of the project. So apparently there is a misnomer there. And although he is correct in that it is not centrally controlled in a sense by Facebook, it is centrally controlled by a democratic committee, quote unquote, of the Libra Association, very similar to Ethereum and the Ethereum Foundation, as juxtaposed to something that is truly decentralized and has no central point of authority or central point of failure, such as Bitcoin. No matter how much voting rights, no matter how much you segregate voting rights, at the end of the day, if there is an individual in control of the system that can simply flip a switch, that is a centralized system to a degree, as opposed to something like Bitcoin, where it is decentralized throughout the network. Now, according to Kelly, Visa's primary interest in Libra is the creation of a payment system that could solve the global financial inclusion issue, given that 1.7 billion adults worldwide still remain unbanked. Of course, they want to get their fingers in as many pies as possible. That's 1.7 billion people that Visa could be charging fees for. Come on, Libra, let's get this done. Now, in recent months, the Libra project has seen pushback from global regulators over concerns of its potential, to undermine the national policies of established economic hegemonies. While observers of the industry, like myself, have wondered if the project can even get off the ground given such stiff opposition from the establishment. And I invite you guys to go watch the video from a couple days ago. I went into this pretty deep in the last half hour of the show, where I did talk, I believe it was Tuesday's episode. No, it was Wednesday's episode. So it was a Wednesday's episode. I apologize, because I remember we cut the Wednesday show short a little bit. Where the reality here is that there's only two options here. Either Libra gets off the ground because they are willing to toe the line of the government, or they are not willing to toe the line of the government. And what we just get eventually is a central bank digital asset. Ultimately, Libra, corporate coins, they are just a step between where we are right now to central bank issued digital assets. Ultimately, the central banks and government will never voluntarily give up monetary authority to a truly decentralized network like Bitcoin. They will never give that power up willingly. It allows them to have absolute control over their citizens' affairs. It allows them to have extreme sway in the world without enforcing their military. Economic control is generally far more effective than military control, and they will not give this power up willingly. Now, of course, this falls into the realm of, we talked about this debate earlier, there is a large swath of the population that honestly believes that that is good, that you need a strong central authority, even if there is some heartache and heartbreak, because that is how you build safe communities. And that, taking that to its logical extreme and assuming that the government will turn into some evil, dystopian nightmare is ludicrous, because that would not be stood for. And of course, the other side of this argument is the libertarian argument, which is that classical liberalism, which is that human freedom should be valued above all. And I cannot see a greater argument for what is human freedom rather than giving individuals monetary control. So now, earlier this week, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg did testify before the House Financial Services Committee, obviously with the aim of relieving their concerns regarding the Libra project, because they have some great concerns. And again, the issue here in reality is Facebook going to toe the line and give the government enough control, or are they going to try to really upset the system, which the government will not allow? Now, he warned during this questioning that the U.S. was risking losing the innovation race to China if regulators stifle development of projects like Libra, so trying to throw his own jab in the ring there. He also reminded the panel that the Libra Association is based in Switzerland, stating that Facebook may be forced to withdraw should the association decide to launch the token without approval from regulators in the United States. I don't think that would be a great idea for them. I think that if they launched it, without approval from the United States and things like Facebook withdraw, we're not going to see the success from Libra. It's only going to be one that really gets the blessing of the American government. And he says, quote, even though the Libra Association is independent and we do not control it, I want to be clear, Facebook will not be a part of launching the Libra payment system anywhere in the world, even outside the U.S., until the U.S. regulators approve. So definitely trying to get on the side of the United States and quell their concerns, but it is up to debate. It is up to debate as to whether that is required. Or, excuse me, it is up to debate as to how effective that will be. But again, the option in my mind is the end game in my mind is very clear. Ultimately, the end game is central bank digital assets versus decentralized money, i.e. Bitcoin. And corporate coins will be successful if they receive approval from the United States along the way. But they will just be a sidestep into something like central bank issued digital assets. Now, carrying on from this and quite contrasted, let's go to somebody else in the tech world, Mr. Jack Dorsey, and obviously CEO of Twitter. Now, on Thursday, he denied any interest, quite vocally, in joining Facebook's Libra project and reiterated that his belief is in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies being the future of internet money. So he was asked during a Twitter news summit in New York whether Twitter would join the Libra Association, to which he replied, and I quote, "Hell no," adding that Libra is not an internet open standard that was born on the internet. He says, quote, "It was born out of a company's intention, and it's not consistent with what I personally believe and what I want our company to stand for." He then took this opportunity to reiterate his belief in Bitcoin and other decentralized cryptocurrencies as the future of internet money, saying, "I think the internet is somewhat of an emerging nation state in almost every way. It almost has a currency now in the form of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin." And for those of you who have been living under a rock, Dorsey's support of Bitcoin runs fairly deep. He's been an investor in the cryptocurrency's scaling solutions, Lightning Labs, and a fan of Tippin, the add-on that allows Twitter users to tip each other in cryptocurrency. Earlier this year, he announced plans to hire engineers and designers to work on open source contributions to the Bitcoin ecosystem, reporting directly to him. Back in June, Dorsey made the case for Bitcoin maximalism, such as the power of its brand, the purity of its principles, its scarcity, and its resilience in the face of the challenges and attacks that crypto has faced in the 10 years since its invention. In his comments made yesterday at the summit, Dorsey sounded like a true maximalist, objecting to Libra, even describing even being described as a cryptocurrency, saying, quote, they use that label liberally. I don't know if it's a gimmick, but cryptocurrency wasn't necessary to make that thing work. So cheers to you, Jack Dorsey. Cheers to you, my friend. Now, we're going to talk about the latest in the Bitfinex Tether saga, guys, because this is what we do on this channel. So, Bitfinex, for those of you who don't know, the crypto exchange and sister company to the Tether stablecoin, claimed today that it was the victim of fraud at the hands of Crypto Capital Corporation, a third party, which happened to have asset of the $800 million that Bitfinex lost. Oh, it's missing, right? Yeah. Now, Crypto Capital's president, Ivan Manuel Molina Lee, was arrested Thursday by Polish police on charges of money laundering. And authorities now claim that Molina Lee's crimes included laundering dirty money for Colombian drug cartels, utilizing the Bitfinex exchange. In an official statement published today, Bitfinex said that it will make its position clear to U.S. and Polish authorities and will continue to pursue the funds that Crypto Capital lost. Again, as we reported on earlier this week, Bitfinex made a subpoena to or made a claim to the United States court that is handling its case that they would like to get their funds back and that the funds were unjustifiably seized. Well, that's not the way things work, man. If you give your money to somebody and you don't know that they're laundering drug money, guess what? You're not getting your money back, dude. Just has never worked out. Best of luck to you, man. According to the statement, Crypto Capital misrepresented its integrity, banking expertise, robust compliance program, and financial licenses to Bitfinex. So what you're basically saying is your due diligence is absolutely terrible, man. Congratulations, Bitfinex. I take more time reviewing a shitcoin that I want to say something bad about than you take to review the bank that you're going to give all your money to. For the love of all that's holy. Molina Lee, it was wanted in Poland for laundering up to 1.5 billion zloty, which is about $390 million from, quote, illegal sources, according to reports in the Polish newspaper In Politics. I'm not going to read the Polish because I don't want to screw it up. Bitfinex denied rumors that it had played any part in the payment processor's money laundering. We just didn't know, man. We just didn't know. We didn't know. Had no idea. Quote, we cannot speak about Crypto Capital's other clients, but any suggestion that Crypto Capital laundered drug proceeds or any other illicit funds at the behest of Bitfinex or its customers is categorically false, wrote Bitfinex General Counsel Stuart Hogner. Anytime I've ever heard somebody say categorically false, they were almost always lying. Just saying, man. So, guys, the plot thickens, man. But again, all we're seeing here is continual just proof of exactly what I said back in my video. If you guys haven't seen that, make sure to go watch that. The Truth About TetherFUD Explained by a professional trader. I went into quite in depth on that issue, man. So let's hop back into the live scene, back into Bitcoin, and let's hang out for the last 30 minutes or so. Whoops. Let me make sure. Okay, good. Excuse me. Bitfinex is the guy in the room that would send 5 Ethereum in belief of receiving 10 times that back, Fifth Ronin says. Wally says, in response to people who say categorically false or lying, I always cringe a little bit when someone says, look, I'll be honest with you, or, quote, to tell you the truth. So be careful. Indeed. What do I think about the new coins adding to the exchanges like Kava listing on Binance? I'm going to be interviewing the Kava Labs team down at San Francisco Blockchain Week. I don't really have a whole lot to say. I'm kind of looking forward to talking to the team and doing a little bit more research on the project. I don't really have anything to speak of as far as the IEO goes. Typically, IEOs, those who buy IEOs, can immediately make fairly quick profits, after its listing. We kind of see that the IEOs have tended to pump in synchronicity. So, but overall, I would say that the IEOs have not been very, very good. Have not been very good investments. I should add a BTC ticker on the border. Yeah, I have definitely considered that. I haven't found one that I really like, to be quite honest with you. Not gonna lie, guys. I'm not gonna do anything, but I am getting close to really wanting to subjectively reopen my full risk short. Gaming Crypto says, send me 5 XRP and I will thank you. Seems like a better play. Kin Dela Cruz says, hi, is this a reversal of the trend? I do not believe so, sir. Get Justin a shirt for Christmas with I'm not gonna lie on it. You can do it. So is this a fake out? I do believe so, yes. I talked about this for probably about an hour at the beginning of the show. Overall, the trend is fairly negative. I don't really want to put a whole lot of stock on the death cross. I think a lot of people are going to be talking about that. Often before we do see a pretty significant moving average crossover, we do see a big move to the downside. A big move in the opposite direction to test the point of breakdown. That's a pretty impressive movement, man. But, it's something that if you capture the long from the bottom, you should be quite joyous and, take your profits, move your stop loss to break even. Maybe you get lucky and price keeps charging along. I think that's fairly unlikely at this point in time. We'll know a little bit more come Monday if we can hold this level and, again, get some confirmed bullish signals. But overall, not really liking it, man. And on the back of the shirt, it should say, it's Jermaine. Stop it, man. It's like being in the library and hearing the guy next to you say, y'all got any of that John Grisham? It's pronounced Grisham, man. It's Hard says this is futures options expiration pump. Price rejecting from the SMA EMA death cross. Textbook 1. I'm not bullish. Now, with a lower volume on the weekend, retail can take it higher. Yes, they can take it higher over the weekend. The weekends are typically bullish anyways. I would be looking at altcoins, though. Yeah, you don't want to do that to yourself, man. You definitely want to sleep, my friend. Can I sing for you? No, I'm going to be honest. My throat still hurts quite a bit, my friend. I am charging through, but that's, whatever I was down with, the man, is still in my chest, still in my throat. I mean, my energy's good. My energy's good, and I feel good, but you can hear it in my throat. I'm quite congested. Oh, yeah, by the way, I was going to put the tunes on. Ugh. Jeff Coffin and Elias, thank guys so much for the subscriptions over there on YouTube, my friend. It's about a 20-second latency here on the YouTube. So maybe you just can't hear it? That is pretty low. About a 20-second latency. That's not too bad, I guess. I think that volume's pretty darn good. What do you guys think? Let's go look at yeah, see, so I want you guys to just keep your eyes on the alt USD market, as again, you can see there are alt USDs that are holding their value better than BTC on this day. But if you look at them relative to BTC, not doing too well. I think it's more important to be looking at the alt USD because that ultimately is most of our goals. So what has appreciated against BTC pairs? BCH, SNX, Breeze coin, and Chili's. Leches. Outperforming Ethereum. Well, this is weighted against XRP. TNT, the strongest coin of the hour. With Bitcoin, BCH, EOS, Litecoin, Ripple, and Ethereum having the largest 24-hour volume, naturally. Got our big caps. But let's go take a look at the other majors. Ethereum doesn't even look nearly as nice. EOS as well. XRP weaker. Yeah, I like this. I like that secondary baseline bounce from ETH Bitcoin. I would not sleep on these altcoins, guys. I would not sleep on these altcoins. Except for ZERP. You're good to sleep on ZERP. Just go ahead and sleep on ZERP. Go ahead and sleep on ZERP down to about 3,200 sats. Just keep snoozing. Cardano, I don't really have a strong opinion on. EOS, I don't really have a strong opinion on at this point in time. TRX, I don't have a strong opinion on. ECH, obviously doing quite nicely. It's the high reached on today's candle. 31765. Ken D laughing all the way to your national bank, man. No hate, brother. Marty Martin, any thoughts on basic attention token? Performing pretty well today. Basic attention token's pretty bullish, man. It's been in a nice, strong bullish trend here for a while. Let's see here. Would have gotten a good continuation signal here on this candle. Let's see here. Our initial trade would have been right here. And a continuation trade here, which got us in for this wick. And then continuation here. Yeah, overall, basic attention token's been good to us, man. And it's pumping, the BAT-USD is pumping right along with the rest of the market. Up about 6% today, so Bitcoin is outperforming it, meaning BAT-BTC is going to be dropping. Again, a little bit more, about 9%, so making up for it right there. Don't really have a strong opinion on its SAT value. I would be kind of looking around 2384 if I wanted to take a reversal on this, 2364 if I wanted to take a reversal on this. Otherwise, if we're looking at the dollar pair, yeah, I mean, this is good, man. I don't have any strong opinions on a reentry right at this point in time, but I would hold on to a position. We'd be in trailing stop loss mode right now. Yeah, we'd be in trailing stop loss mode right now. Yeah, I mean, the space is pretty virulent, Kendi, and I'm pretty virulent about, you know, Bitcoin being Bitcoin. But again, you know, I'm an open market economist, so I think that everybody has the right to experiment and you know, have what they want. But again, just as they have the right to hodl what they want or experiment with what they like, I have the freedom to call reality what it is. Got a re-entry long signal here on this candle. So you would have caught this hourly pump to the upside. You'd be up about 6% on the lower time frames for basic attention token. From a swing perspective, it's actually pretty good. You're getting a 4-hour continuation signal. Actually, you got a 4-hour continuation signal right here. You would have had to deal with this big wick down. I'd probably let this go on the first red candle that closes below this close. But other than that, this is not too bad. You're looking for sustained bullish momentum on basic attention token. And I would feel more comfortable looking for that in altcoins than in BTC at this point in time, unfortunately. And that's something I'm willing to be wrong on. Yeah, I think I'm just going to wait till this evening's daily close or until I get a good signal on the hourly. Let's bring up volatility expander. Come on, God. Yeah, we got a ways to go before we can look for that reversal trade. Best thing is to be flat. Does the high volume of the candle in relation to the initial breakdown volume indicate a possible trend flip or just a short squeeze? Right now, it would indicate to me a short squeeze. If it has follow through, then that's a trend flip. But right now, it hasn't had follow through. But listen, guys, we made it. Hold on a second. Just want to just a moment of silence here for the just a moment of silence for anybody else who was trapped in a short squeeze on this. Just a moment of silence here. In the arms of the angels, fly up. All right, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. All right. And for anybody who was on the right side of the market today, by the way, it is Friday. We made it. It's the weekend. So TGIF, guys, we've got a beautiful weekend of potential bullishness, low volume retail bullishness, right? So be cautious with your positions. Be careful. Do your homework. Spend your time working on your strategy. The trades will come when you have taken the time to study what to do and when to do it. And if you guys would like help with that, more than happy to help you guys out in the Discord. Make sure you hop in there. All right. Now, thank you guys for joining me for another exciting episode of Cracking Cryptocurrency. Guys, of course, it is Friday, and it has come to my attention that I will not be live for the next for the next 2 days. It's going to be the weekend, guys. It's going to be the weekend, and I've got to be prepared for my trip to San Francisco Blockchain Week. Now, I will see you guys back here on Monday, but it has come to my attention that some of you panic if I'm not here every day. So you should hop in the Discord at discord.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Link in the description down below to join our community. If you are a new, experienced, or aspiring trader, and whether your goal is to be a full-time professional trader like myself, whether you want to earn passive income in on the side, or if you don't know what the government's going to make illegal tomorrow and you are concerned about your and your family's financial future, please check out the group premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. This is what we do. We help people become consistently profitable traders. I've put all the efforts of the last 2 years into being able to do this consistently for you guys. And again, huge shout out to my team. Huge shout out to the premium members. You guys make my life infinitely better. And thank you guys so much for letting me be here every day and be your guide in this often wild world. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or sarcastic remarks and you're watching us on YouTube, or you can head over to YouTube, leave a comment in the section down below and I'll try to get back to you within the next 48 hours. This weekend will be a little crazy. That's about all we got, guys. If you're watching on Twitch or DLive, consider giving us a follow if you enjoy the content. You guys have all been absolutely amazing. I want you guys to trade safely. And I will see you guys on Monday from San Francisco to crack some cryptocurrency, guys. Be good.